Hey there, I'm Apple Crider with Investing Simple. In this video, we're taking an in-depth look at VIAC stock, otherwise known as ViacomCBS, and answering the question of, is ViacomCBS stock a buy? Well, first off, what actually is ViacomCBS? This is a media company that produces both TV shows and movies. These guys own some really popular brands such as BET, Paramount, Comedy Central, Nickelodeon, and as you would probably guess, CBS. Now, there are actually two different stock symbols for ViacomCBS. You've got the VIACA stock and the VIAC stock. Now, the VIACA shares are voting shares of the company. The VIAC shares, on the other hand, are non-voting shares. So if you own VIAC, you are not allowed to vote in company decisions. But now to the all-important question, why is ViacomCBS stock actually moving right now? Well, if you take a look at the chart, you'll see that Viacom stock was on a steady decline until about March 2020. At that point, it turned into a very steep decline, and they actually saw a 71% fall in the stock price, all the way down to about $12 per share. Since then, though, the stock is actually up over 250%, and at one point, the stock price was over $100, showing a 630% gain, which is absolutely crazy. Recently, though, the stock did fall about 50% down to about $48. Now, why did that actually happen? Well, recently the company rebranded CBS All Access to Paramount Plus. This is a streaming service that costs $5.99 per month and includes things like March Madness and other sports games, along with a bunch of TV shows that you've probably heard of. Now, ViacomCBS plans to invest billions of dollars into Paramount Plus, and because of that, a Wells Fargo analyst downgraded the stock pretty significantly. This led to a really massive sell-off because people aren't that optimistic that Paramount Plus is actually going to take off as a streaming service with all of the other streaming services already on the market competing for people's dollars. But more on that in a little bit. Now, on the positive side for ViacomCBS, here's kind of what they've got going for them. It really comes down to two things. First of which is brand recognition, and then the second of which is an increased demand for content that we are seeing, honestly, throughout the last 12 to 18 months. Now, on the brand recognition side, like I mentioned earlier, they've owned brands like Nickelodeon, Paramount, BET, Comedy Central, CBS, like these brands most people know about. And so on Paramount Plus, they've got content from all these different brands that people are already used to watching. They're also seeing some pretty decent traction in terms of revenue, which is up 74% since 2018. Viacom also just extended their partnership with the NFL until 2033, which is a big plus. NFL still brings in a whole bunch of views for them, a whole bunch of attention. So that is a very important partnership for them. And like I said, their partnerships are kind of the cornerstone of what is keeping Viacom afloat right now and what investors are looking to capitalize on. But now the challenges for Viacom. So like I mentioned earlier, they are competing in a very, very competitive market known as streaming services. So you've got things like Netflix, you've got Amazon Prime, you've got Hulu, you've got Disney Plus, you've got Peacock, you've got all of these different streaming services competing for people's dollars and their attention. And the question really is, how many different streaming services is the average household going to be willing to pay for? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 5? Is it 7? Does it just keep going up? Because there's so many different streaming services out there now that you really have to find that differentiating factor if you want to gain that real market share. And this is going to be the biggest challenge for Viacom. They've got a goal of 70 million subscribers by 2024. And so the future of the company largely depends on whether or not they're able to meet that target and whether or not Paramount Plus is going to be successful, because they're putting so many resources into this project. If it fails, that's going to be very, very bad for the company as a whole. However, as we saw with Disney Plus, subscription services do have the potential to pop fairly quickly. So there is a chance that Paramount Plus does in fact take off and shareholders do in fact get rewarded for that. But what I would say is, if you are an investor in ViacomCBS stock, it is going to be in your best interest to keep up to date with all of the latest news surrounding the company, because one small announcement or news story can really be make or break for the company at this point. Now, if you want to invest in ViacomCBS stock or any other stock for that matter, you're going to need a trading app. And down in the description below, we've got our best picks for the different trading apps out there, many of which actually offer you free stocks just for signing up for the platform. So if you want to get some free money, check out those links down below. They also do support the channel. So if you want to see more videos like this, we really do appreciate it. And now, if you're ready to get started investing in the stock market, the next thing you should do is check out this video over here, where we walk you step by step through buying a stock on Robinhood. This is one of the most popular brokerage apps for beginner investors. So if you're trying to get your foot in the door, check out that video and we'll see you over there.